Maybe next year you can come and witness this Lilac Festival with your own eyes. Hey! Yeah, well, I'm comfy. I am trying my best. Here to my left is the lilac tree. It dates back 150 years. And right next to that, what is that? It always happens here. Did you guys hear that, or is it my imagination?
No, you heard it.
It's really weird. It comes from here to the Little Stone Church. Oh, well, anyway, the Grand Cottage was owned by William Backhouse Astor, son of John Jacob Astor, the multimillionaire that I was just talking about. There it is again, right? You hear it?
Yeah. That's your static.
But why does it always happen here? Weird. Anyway.
Radio tower interference.
Yeah, it should go away. It did before in the past.
It's electromagnetic frequency resonance, man. Left over from the ghosts walking around.
Well, that's an explanation. Thanks. See, I didn't know that. William Backhouse. So John Jacob Astor, even though he made millions of dollars here, never set foot here once. It turns out that William Backhouse Astor and Robert Stewart handled the brunt of the financial transactions. John Jacob Astor proved to be a shrewd businessman, however. He invested in real estate in New York, so by the time that the fur trade ended, he had already made millions of dollars in real estate in New York and owned a large section of Manhattan. Now up here to my right is Little Stone Church, made up of rocks and stones gathered here on the island. Those stained glass windows that were imported from New York.
That's called the American House.
They were imported from New York in 1904, and they depict the work of the missionaries on the island. That one in the center is said to be Reverend Ferry. He came to the island to not only start Mission Church, which was attended by many of the higher-ups here on the island, but to also educate the Native American blooded children on reading, writing, and arithmetic. That building there to my left, see now? Yeah, see, it went away right after. Anyway, that building there, that's the Mackinac Island Public School. It's closed right now because of COVID, but it was open a couple weeks ago. They have about 80 students a year with a graduating class that ranges from 2 students to 10 students a year. Across the way there is Little Stone Church. Not Little Stone Church. Across the way there you can see the Mackinac Bridge. Between anchorages it spans a distance of 5 miles, making it the largest suspension bridge in this western hemisphere. Up there, up on the bluff to the right, that's the governor's summer residence. It has 29 rooms, 11 bedrooms, and 9.5 bathrooms. It is now the honor, privilege, and custom of every elected governor of Michigan to take up residence in that space as his or her own personal summer house. Many famous political figures that stay there, such as John Kennedy and Gerald Ford. Now, up there to my left, that is the Grand Hotel. It has 185 rooms. Originally it had 185 rooms, and it was built in 93 days. The project was funded by 3 transportation companies, 2 train lines, and a steamship line to further encourage travel to Mackinac Island by trains and ships by sea. It wasn't unusual for transportation companies to build wooden-framed hotels back then. Very often they wanted to give their passengers a fancy destination to arrive at. And if you think about it, that's exactly what the Grand Hotel was. At one time there was over 1,200 of these wooden-framed hotels scattered around the country. Now there's only 12 remaining. One of the few that's open is the Grand Hotel. Those three transportation companies hired speed carpenter, architect extraordinaire Charles Caskey to head up the project. And he brought over 1,500,000 feet of white pine on the frozen ice bridge in preparation of building the Grand Hotel. Not only did he have to deal with inclement weather, but he had to also deal with a potential labor strike right from the get-go. He had promised those laborers, the 600 laborers, double their wages when they came to the island, but they demanded triple their wages or they claimed they were going to quit. Well then, Charles Caskey assembled them together and he had a meeting, he explained some things to them. He said, first of all, double your wages is the deal that we made, and double your wages is pretty much what you're going to get. And then he said, secondly, if you really truly want to quit, that's your own prerogative. But I have to warn you right now, the only way off this island is with one of my boats. So it was a pretty quick debate. They got right back to work, and they built that Grand Hotel in 93 days. Do you know why they built it in 93 days, ladies and gentlemen?
One summer?
Because they had to because they had already booked out all the rooms.
I'd say that's one boat off the island.
Since then, 33 additions have been put on. Now it has 385 rooms. Each one is decorated differently.
Yeah.
2 movies have been shot here. This Time for Keeps with Jimmy Durante and Esther Williams in 1946. And I'm sure you're all familiar with Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeve and James Seymour in 1979. There to my right is the Grand Hotel employee parking lot. Yeah, and behind that is a 9-hole golf course. What happens is you play 9 holes here, then you hop on a carriage. It takes you to, they take you to an area called the Woods, and you play the remaining 9 holes there. So it's the only carriage ride that's, the only golf course that's separated by a carriage ride. Oh. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm giving the horses their second break. We're instructed by the owners of this company to give our horses 3 breaks going up this hill. Something else I'm doing to make their lives a little easier is I have my foot on a brake. That way they don't feel the weight of the carriage pulling against them. It's easier for them to breathe and relax. Like I said, this is one of the steepest hills on Mackinac Island, so it is regulated by the police to a degree. It's possible to get a speeding ticket, a reckless riding ticket, and a DUI, biking under the influence. Now I know it's hard to see the golf course. The problem was when the golf course was first built, golf balls were flying out and hitting pedestrians and horses alike. So they put in these trees and hills to obstruct the velocity of the golf ball. Pretty good sentence, huh? I came up with that one myself. Ooh. So this is Mackinac Carriage Store headquarters. This is where I report to work every morning. I wake up about 6:30 in the morning. I head up this wonderful, splendid hill. Then I groom my horses. I put the tack on. The barn staff hitches me up, and I hit the road. Those are the taxi shuttles down there. They're 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year. Radio dispatch and horse-drawn, the only ones in this country. We take great pride in that. Right past them are the green and white carriages. They're 35 passenger carriages. They were built by the RV company Jayco. And they're pulled by 3 horses side by side. That was my old job. I was a 3-horse driver. We would split the tour into 2 parts. You do the first third of the leg in this, and then you would switch to the 35 passenger carriage. But because of COVID this year, we're bypassing all that, and we're doing what's called going long, where we do the entire tour in one fell swoop. There's a veterinarian office.